concrete. Oh, feeling, maybe he'll see a little better Saturdays. Oh, hey, now, faces that he sees, now again, ain't that familiar?
Good Sunday morning. Welcome in to... All right, there we go. Wasn't sure I was on correctly. Hey, welcome in, Neutral Zone. Good Sunday morning. Welcome into Fan Run Radio. Hope your weekend's been great. What an aerial assault explosion from Tennessee's offense, their passing game specifically, last night up at Kroger Field. Defense still has many questions. Drew.
That they do.
Good morning, Drew. How you doing?
Not too bad, Cloney. I mean, I think all of us after, that very disappointing loss against Alabama last weekend, really hope, offensively, we're going to be able to bounce back, to be able to step up, especially when it comes to the passing games, just as far as catching some wide open passes. They absolutely did that. Mike Matthews had a fantastic game. Brazel back in top form.
Brazel dazzle.
Staley had a good one. Even Kitzelman, had a couple good catches himself. And so Tennessee desperately needed this type of performance. And, you can never complain whenever you drop a 50-burger on Kentucky. But damn, that defense is bad.
It
is
really
terrible.
It is. Of course, they get a pick six. You're just like, okay, to win this remaining schedule, to win out, you're going to have to. I'm not saying we're going to drop 45 on Oklahoma's defense, but you're going to have that mentality. You're going to have to be uber aggressive. You're not going to, if it's 4th and 1, I'm not saying every time it's 4th and 1 or 4th and 2, if the ball's on the opposing team's side of the field, but you're going to have to eliminate bogging down in the red zone, kicking field goals. Now, sure. Listen, Oklahoma, they're very flawed offensively. I think Mateer he's not been the same since the injury, since when he was healthy. He can still beat you with his feet, but they have we talked about it a couple weeks ago. They have massive, for as bad as our tackling is, and the run gap integrity and things like that, their offensive line is so bad. It may be one of the worst in the SEC, and that's saying a lot because they were coming into yesterday versus Ole Miss. They were one of the teams that was still in consideration of making the college football playoff. But that ship has sailed. We need to take care of business this week in the dark mode, Gabe. Dark mode. So hopefully we'll take care of business there. Keep this thing rolling. But yeah, I would say expect high scoring affairs pretty much the rest of the way. You're going to have to outscore Vanderbilt and Pavia. By the way, how about Elko and the A&M Aggies going to Tiger Stadium? Not surprised they won, but in that fashion, and they basically, before they emptied the Tiger Stadium, they had them chanting, "Fire Brian Kelly, fire." I mean, so he's clearly out. He's gone. Lane Kiffin to Florida sounds like everything but a done deal behind the scenes, but it's gonna have to wait a little while because that team, again, I don't think they're gonna win out. I didn't expect them to win yesterday. I thought maybe it'd be a close game. Oklahoma would find a way to win, but hey, tip the cap to Lane, and he's getting a lot. I mean, his quarterback play and.
Did you see the video of what he said though, like as he was walking back into the locker room post game?
I did not.
So he looked at, I guess, the Ole Miss fans in the visitor section and apparently said, "I'm not effing leaving," towards him, like saying like he's not leaving. And like for me, I was just like, I don't know. We also thought like 3 or 4 years ago that he was going to leave Ole Miss to take the Auburn job, and I could see it both ways personally because I think the Florida job is a hell of a lot better job than Auburn, like no doubt about it. The in-state talent. Facilities are about the same, but you could be able to win there. And if you're the top program in that state, guess what? Like you're going to be a top 10 program in the nation without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, just look at Miami alone over the last couple seasons. However, he's got it completely made over at Ole Miss. Ole Miss has got a pretty solid NIL, all things considered. They expanded their stadium. They've put a lot of money into that program, and he's still able to recruit at a very high level over there. And I feel like it's just one of those situations where if he has a down year where they go 8-4 or 9-3, he's going to have more of a leash as far as like comfortability and things like that. Whereas opposed to Florida, he's going to be expected to win 10 games every single season once he's there, especially if the amount of money that we're hearing that Florida is throwing at him, which I think it's like almost like $13.5 million a year that they're offering him over a 6-year deal. And so they're going to expect immediately 9 or 10 win seasons. And truth be told, I mean, with the changes of NIL and things like that, I don't necessarily know if like he could be able to do that at Florida. The talent's there, but like, we've seen that they've had some NIL struggles with the whole entire Jaden Rashada, recruitment. And obviously they, won that game in the long run without a doubt. But I just think he has a little bit more of like comfortable room. He's got made in Oxford. I mean, his kids, you watch that documentary, that E60 documentary, they made it pretty vocal that they did not want him to leave Oxford to go to Auburn, 3 or 4 years ago. And so there is a lot more factors. I feel like Lane 10 years ago, 15 years ago would absolutely jump on that opportunity, but
yeah, you never know.
I'm not too sure now.
You never know. Is it a better job as far as just resources at hand? Yes. Here's another factor that whoever gets that job, if they're the right coach, right time, right place, right? It's not just even in the state of Florida, but when Spurrier had it rolling there, and as well as Urban Meyer, they recruited really well. Even as with the success of Georgia, University of Georgia, they recruited really well in that southern Georgia, Valdosta area, which is it is like a football mecca. Valdosta per capita has like so much talent right there, and it's just over the border into Georgia. So if you've got an appealing, attractive program and you're the state, just below you or neighboring to the east or the west or to the north, wherever, recruits will go there if it's especially with how, you could make the case that he does more with quarterback development than any coach. Now he's grown as a head coach. He still makes, some iffy, questionable decisions. But overall, he's going to put you, perfect scenario. He is an offensive minded guru, arguably top 3, 4, maybe all time at play calling, at getting guys in position. Front of the room as a head coach, I'm not ready to put him there yet. But if he takes a defensive-minded guy and would accept a job like that at Florida, he would absolutely crush it there. I really believe that. Now, there are obviously some very qualified coaches, but then you start looking at this LSU opening. I mean, that's a sleeping giant down there. There is so much talent in Louisiana and in Mississippi where they recruit heavily. So there's going to be some, might you say, some shuffling, it's going to be interesting what happens. And it's not going to, listen, as soon as this season's over, it's not going to take very long with that window and the open, recruiting and the window of NIL. Someone is going to, I would imagine, whoever gets Florida, whoever gets LSU, even Auburn.
Yeah.
Those 3 schools, not so much Kentucky, but those 3 schools are going to, someone's going to be able to go in there with the right person, the right hire. You're going to see them. They have the resources. They have the NIL money. They will go after it. They will flip that roster. All three of those rosters, I would expect, unless Florida just goes, the Sun Belt Billy route and makes another just boneheaded, hire. I don't think that'll happen this time around. Certainly if Jeremy Foley was the man calling the shots, it would have never even been a Sun Belt Billy to begin with. But again, huge day in college football. We're going to break it all down. A&M is 8-0. Man, that was a whipping, a whooping, as they say. But a lot of crazy things. Nico didn't do too well up in Indiana. Indiana may have I'll tell you, Mendoza, that he may win the Heisman. I mean, the way they're playing right now. The other one was the scare was Alabama. I mean, poor old Beta Beamer. I mean, he's clearly a beta. I mean, he is such a wuss. And he had every opportunity there. And I'm like, your home crowd's behind you. Buddy, you're playing with house money. Some of those decisions that you made, what are you playing for? But Alabama survives. Give them credit. And they're moving on. South Florida, though, that was a team that, we didn't think they were a national championship contender, but that was a team that probably saw their college football playoff hopes die yesterday. I was watching some of that game, had a little action on that, Memphis getting the points, and I am still blown away that Memphis beat them.
Yeah, it seemed like a lot of I wasn't able to catch too much of the game, but I believe that they blew a 17-point lead in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Now they've had some defensive struggles this year, South Florida, but man, I mean, it's not like Memphis is that great either. You know what I mean? And I mean, compared to last year, I think like just the group of five, just in general, is just not as elite as it was last season that we had with Boise State. Now, obviously, Boise State had a Heisman contender at running back and a first-round draft pick, and I don't think any of these teams do. But I mean, you have to think after that win, despite the fact Memphis losing to UAB a couple weeks ago as like a 27-point favorite, you have to think that Memphis is now the leader again in that group of five of getting that bid in the college football playoffs.
Very, very likely. I believe you're right. Speaking of blowing leads, you saw a lot of that yesterday in college football. How about this? Mississippi State, South Carolina, Arkansas, and Oklahoma all had leads in the fourth quarter. And lost. All four lost. Combined, they got outscored. Ready for this? In the fourth quarter, those four teams, Mississippi State, SCAR, Arkansas, and Oklahoma, got outscored in the fourth quarter a combined 72-14. Now, one of those was overtime as well. But, man, alive. I mean, that is insane. And I believe, if not mistaken, three of those were home teams. Again, you're right there. Of course, we really have no room to talk here with the way we handled the Georgia situation.
Yeah. And
especially the way the first half ended, it looked like, oh Lord, here we go. We can't stop anyone. They're just gonna keep our defense on the field and just chew up the clock and wear us down. We won't be able to stop them in the fourth quarter. And we found something like intestinal fortitude and just, grit. And then we ice our kicker. We get ultra conservative. And then it was just like, okay, enough. I'm not going to pile on Bobby on here today, but your thoughts overall. Anything else that stood out to you in college football yesterday? I don't. As far as any like real huge surprises, maybe a slight shocker in the top 25. Arizona State was still without their quarterback.
Yeah.
But at home, Houston went in there and took care of them. So,
I mean, a couple of things that kind of stood out to me was just Virginia narrowly defeating North Carolina there in overtime. I mean, North Carolina was literally inches away from winning that game too. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd be devastated if I was in their shoes. But we've had our fair share of those, especially. But I mean, BYU coming back against Iowa State was quite a shock. I mean, they were down, I think, by 3 scores at one point in the first half, and they came back, and I think they scored almost 30 unanswered points and wound up winning by 2 touchdowns. The other game as well, despite this being a win, Oregon struggling to Wisconsin as 31.5-point favorites, only winning 21-7. I mean, I think, we might have to ask the question, are they overrated? I mean, because here's the thing, right? They have next week off, but they go to Iowa in 2 weeks. And Iowa, I mean, for all jokes aside, I mean, they have been the laughingstock when it comes to offensive football. But, man, they've averaged, I mean, they've put up 41 points against Minnesota, 25 against Penn State. I mean, they're cooking offensively.
Oh, they'll be a live dog.
That could absolutely be a game where, like, they could upset. And here's the thing, and I think this is the thing that a lot of Tennessee fans have to realize. We need upsets to happen ASAP. And when I'm looking at the schedule, if Tennessee wins out and they beat Oklahoma, Oklahoma's going to be in that like 20 to 25 range, like in the rankings when they come out this afternoon. But Vanderbilt, if we beat them, that's a top 10 win, because I think Vanderbilt's going to be, unfortunately, 10-1 when they come to Neyland. I don't think they're going to lose another game. If Oregon loses, that helps our chances tremendously, because Ohio State and Indiana are both absolute locks. They're going to both be undefeated playing each other in the Big Ten Championship. So we're going to need a team like Oregon to lose. I mean, I thought A&M was going to be able to lose to LSU if it being Death Valley, but, man, LSU is just a shell of what they were even under Orgeron, and it definitely looks like Brian Kelly is not the answer whatsoever over there in Baton Rouge. And, I mean, I expect Georgia Tech to win out. I mean, they will probably lose to Georgia at the end of the year, but even then, it's 11-1. They're ACC most likely. Even if I think Georgia Tech loses the ACC championship to Miami, I think they're probably going to wind up having 2 teams from that conference. So Tennessee's going to need to have some help here, like in the rankings. And, I mean, BYU, I think they have, I'll have to double check their schedule real quick. They have Texas Tech in a couple weeks, and that will probably help us a little bit, because they're most likely going to be the favorite for the Big 12. And so they got their work cut out for them. But they have a couple games that, they could play in their favor. If they win out, I mean, Tennessee has a very good chance of making the playoff. But truth be told, though, Cloney, I mean, it was like I was telling you off the air right before we started the show. Very happy for that bounce back win, but we got to be real. I think Tennessee has to fire Tim Banks into the sun and make sure that he never calls another game for Tennessee again, because that performance last night, even despite the fact that we won by 3 touchdowns, absolutely disgraceful. I mean, just completely embarrassing from top to bottom. I mean, Kentucky's quarterback only had 4 touchdowns in the season going into that game. And I think he had 4 or 5 touchdowns last night.
Yeah.
And a smidge, I'll have to double check. Yeah. Over 300 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception, 330 yards of passing yards, 476 yards of total offense for Kentucky. Yeah. For a team, mind you, that literally couldn't even score a touchdown last weekend against Texas.
Yeah.
And the one thing I can't help but notice is just, you know what? Like, I understand that Ricky Gibson and Jermod McCoy are both out. When you have 2 starters on the secondary,
and that is big.
That is big. But, man, you watch some of the efforts, like Ty Redmond playing with 0 confidence right now. And I don't like calling out players too much, but good Lord, Boo Carter, I mean, I don't understand why you continue to trot out a guy on the field that literally does not even give 100%. And
he doesn't look like he looks like he's already gone to Colorado.
Yeah.
Yeah, and let me back up on something there. When we were talking about Vanderbilt, and yes, they could. They have one big test before they come here, and that's this upcoming weekend. Now, it might not be Arch Manning playing because of his injury, but at Texas is going to be tough. I expect that to be kind of a low-scoring game, but right now, Vanderbilt, you would have to say they're sitting there at 7-1. They've got to be in that 12-team college football playoff. In fact, ESPN's projection right now, we'll break it down, but Ohio State is 1, sitting at 7-0. Really only one tough matchup left at Michigan. Then you've got Indiana sitting there 8-0. They look like a wagon right now. And I don't even know. Really, do they have a tough game left? I don't know.
Who?
Indiana. I know they play Purdue, like at Purdue, but
Purdue hasn't won.
Yeah, they haven't really been.
I don't think they've won a conference game since COVID. Honestly,
Bama 7-1. They're sitting at 3. They host Oklahoma, so that'll be a win. A&M sitting there at 4. They play at Texas, as you mentioned a minute ago. The weekend there of Thanksgiving, traditional game there with them. Georgia sitting at 5. A little bit of fool's gold there, but
Florida next weekend in Jacksonville.
Yeah, and then they still play Georgia Tech. Ole Miss sitting there at 6. I still see a loss on their schedule. They're at Mississippi State for the Egg Bowl, although I think they'll find a way to win that game. Miami sitting at 7. Nice little bounce back again. It was Stanford, lowly Stanford, but they play at Pitt November 29th, so that'll be interesting. I could see Cristobal, having another hiccup. Oregon, like you mentioned, 7-1. They're at 8 according to ESPN's projections. They still have to go at Washington. That's no easy task.
At Washington and at Iowa too.
Yeah. So, but Vanderbilt sitting there 7-1, and they're 9th in the ranking. BYU at 8-0. They're clearly going to get in, although they do play at Texas Tech. You mentioned November 8th. So in 2 weeks from yesterday. And then Georgia Tech, like you said, they're at 11. And then, of course, the team we all know is going to win out and get in. There's just a spot for them every year, Notre Dame.
Here's the thing about Notre Dame, right? Like, I despise the idea of them, I mean, it's inevitable that they're going to finish 10-2 and make the playoff. But if you look at their 2 losses, man, like, I don't know if there's a team in the country that has better 2 losses than them, with a 3-point loss to Miami at the start of the year and a 1-point loss to Texas A&M. And let's be real, they probably would actually maybe win both those games if they did a rematch, against either of those teams. I mean, they completely blew the Texas A&M game. But I mean, their schedule from here on out is Boston College 1-7, easy win. Navy's undefeated, but they'll win that game. At Pitt, Syracuse, and then at Stanford as well. And so I would be very surprised if upset happens, in any of those games myself. And I mean, Georgia Tech as well. I mean, they play at NC State, at Boston College, Pitt, and then finish with Georgia in Atlanta as well. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at Ole Miss's schedule, and I'll be honest with you, Clooney. I mean, Lane Kiffin traditionally always loses 2 games a season. There's no doubt about it. But when I look at their schedule, I mean, you got South Carolina at home. That's a night game. I don't think Ole Miss is going to have any trouble there. Citadel, I mean, obviously a win. Florida in Ole Miss, maybe, but I highly doubt it too. And then you got Mississippi State, where Mississippi State could do it. I mean, in Mississippi State, all things considered, should be 6-2 right now. Well, I mean, they should have won yesterday, and they should have won last weekend against Florida as well. But their schedule is completely soft. I mean, Tennessee's best bet, I feel like, as far as making it in the playoff, is Oregon just imploding. And Oregon's got a little bit of a tough stretch at the end of the season with at Iowa, Minnesota at home, USC at home, and then Washington in the season. So I don't see Alabama dropping another game. I mean, I know they got LSU in a couple weeks and Oklahoma, but those are both in Tuscaloosa. I mean, they play Iron Bowls at Auburn, and obviously that game is always close, but let's be real. I mean, Auburn's awful. Hugh Freeze is a walking dead man, and I feel like once they lose that game, that'll be his final game, in the Plains.
Yeah. Just watching a lot of different games yesterday, and hearing a lot of the buzz about, of course, these job openings that might happen. Another one that, if Lane Kiffin does not, and like you said, if he's fully committed and really like his roots are firmly planted there in Oxford, it's not the pressure cooker that it would be at a Florida. I'll even say with Auburn, man, Auburn's got, that's a pretty big pressure. It's not Alabama, but it is. That is a massive, win that rivalry, the Iron Bowl, and then they get them off your back for another year. But there's a lot of pressure there. I could even see Drinkowitz and that goofball. He's even rumored as a potential candidate for Florida. So what would your thoughts be there? He can obviously coach when he's got the players in there, and there's more talent, and the resources would be much more plentiful there in Gainesville than it would be for him at Missouri.
I mean, he's a solid X's and O's coach. Drinkwitz is. I mean, there's no denying that. But the thing is like, is he going to be able to recruit? I mean, obviously, recruiting in Missouri is a very, very tough place to recruit. There's no denying that. I mean, they're in the bottom tier and facilities and obviously in-state talent. But the thing is like, is he going to be able to surround himself, and does he have the personality to be able to get these high talented recruits like within, the state of Florida? And I mean, convince these guys to go to UF over, Miami and Florida State, or even Georgia, as well. And I'm not really sure. I mean, like, I feel like if you're going to go as far as like personality goes, who would be like a good fit? Like, I mean, Kiffin comes to mind, but like, this is a job where Dan Mullen, mind you, I mean, averaged 9 or 10 wins a season over there, and he had 1 7-5 season, and they fired him. Like, this is a fan base that has extremely low patience. I mean, even McElwain, who we all knew wasn't really that great, but back-to-back SEC championship appearances, and in the third year, I mean, he's 4-6, and they fire him as well. And so it just comes with a different pressure, and I'm not really sure who they would get. I mean, you might be able to pull off a guy like, a young guy like Alex Golish, where I would be nervous if he went to Florida personally, because he can absolutely coach.
He absolutely can.
But would they give patience? Would they go the route of a G5 coach again and give him the opportunity to be able to, to take an up and comer? They're in a much more trickier spot than I feel like they were, even like when Muschamp left, when he got fired, and obviously when Urban Meyer, left too. It's like, I don't know. They're kind of like Auburn. I mean, it's the same how I feel about Auburn. Like, I feel like both these fan bases tend to need to like really like temper, lower their expectations a bit.
Sure.
I mean, Auburn let a good thing go with Gus. Gus averaged 8 wins. I mean, Gus averaged 8 wins a season over there. That's a program that averages 8 wins a season. Like, I mean, it's just realistically, like, they're the type of program where, like, all right, every 2 or 3 years, you could be able to get that 10, 11 win season and make for a playoff push. And Florida should be better than what Billy is. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know how many coaches are going to be willing, who are already like comfortable, are going to be willing to leave their places, especially if they're already in the SEC, for a job like that.
Yeah. Back to the UT's defensive woes, and though I do agree with you, a lot of that is on Banks. I have said this for probably this time last year. I was really beating that drum, and even before then, that our recruiting of linebackers. Now, we've missed on some guys, and we've been in on some guys. We've been right down to the wire on them, but you've got to either go out in the portal. And I put, again, this is Heupel, has to oversee all this. You've clearly got you a quarterback. You've found a guy who is really, really, maybe is close to perfect. He's not Hendon Hooker, but he's pretty damn close as far as production, the deep ball, giving you. I mean, how many times a game has he put it right there to where we either draw a penalty or, or we're right on it and we make a big catch? He's found it with the offense. You've got a good thing going here with Bishop, boom, those hard, between the tackles. He's very underrated. I keep saying that, with his picking up blitz packages and run blocking, pass pro. But the thing that I see is, yes, I'm not saying I feel like we are right here. I'm not saying we're going to, but can you imagine if we get into the college football playoff again with this defense, how does Josh Heupel not get involved here and say, you know what? I understand we were without 2 key players. I understand we were thin at defensive line due to some injuries. But we came in here. I'm the captain here. You should have recognized that you've basically got 1, maybe 2 linebackers that really should not be starting linebackers at the University of Tennessee. And I'm not degrading these kids. But my point being is you've got to get after it. You've got to be more aggressive. You know, it's just everything about, and I hate to be the critical. I mean, but with Heupel, it just, to me, it's gotten almost lazy like with that. Even his appearance, and I hate to be that way, but it's just, I mean, either let the beard grow out or shave it off, man. Come on. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little too much, but and this is people I know that are watching games and they're going, ugh, man. I mean, he looks like he's been on a bender, and I'm like, well, he hasn't been out recruiting and hitting the NIL enough for his defense. He needs to go. And he needs to make some wholesale changes on the defensive side, and he's got to get aggressive. You are on the verge of making possibly, I'm going to say hypothetically, because I think we beat Oklahoma, but we could be staring down the barrel of 2 consecutive years. Now, last year's defense was pretty solid, especially, before all the injuries started happening. But my point is, yes, we need to replace Banks. We probably need to look at Willie Martinez too. Yes, he's a good recruiter, but I don't believe we have, even in the SEC, the talent on our defensive side of the ball. I think we're in the bottom, probably middle of the pack to just slightly below. I don't think we're way down at the bottom defensively. There's some talent there. But guys, I'm telling you right now, and talking to an NFL scout that I talk to regularly, there's not a whole lot of talent on the defensive side that's being noticed in the NFL, in the likes of the NFL scouts. That's not usually the case. That's not normal coming out of Tennessee.
No.
So my point being, again, Heupel needs to kick it into gear. You have something really good. You could be a legitimate national championship contending type program if you got serious on that side of the ball. And they haven't yet. He hasn't the last 2 years. I'll stand by it. The recruiting, the NIL, the resources to be able to go out and get them. Meanwhile, and I understand it's easier when you win a national title in baseball, but we had a coach here, and I think it'll continue with Josh Elander. Congrats, Danny White making that decision. I've been a little critical of him, but that was the right call there, as you and I talked before the show. But they have an ability. Rick Barnes, most were ready to throw dirt on him and just bury him and say his career's over, as was a lot of other coaches in his age, or that had his sort of tenure or background, kind of old school gym rat coach mentality. Why the hell is our offensive minded, fantastic offensive minded, schemed, whatever you want to call him as a coach, why has he not done it on the defensive side of the ball? He better, or he'll be looking for work in a couple years. I know that's his boy, Danny, and that's the connection there.
Still.
But still,
the thing is like, I understand Heupel has like PTSD from being fired from Stoops, and he doesn't really want any of the guys that are obviously he's friends with on the staff to go through the same thing. But listen, man, I mean, it's year 5. It's inexcusable. Kentucky, one time this entire season, has scored over 24 points. One time this season before they played us yesterday, and that was against Eastern Michigan when they scored 48. They have not the second highest amount of points they scored was 24 against Toledo. The fact that that Toledo has a better defense than us. And here's the thing, right? I mean, and I've been arguing with people on social media about this too. And they're like, oh, well, he's missing several key stars. I get that. All right. Yeah, that's unfortunate. But here's the stats for Tim Banks in year 5. 96 in total defense, 68 on third down defense and third down conversion, 109th in first downs allowed, 117th in passing yards allowed, 119th in red zone defense, 54th in rush defense, third in team sacks, but you can thank Rodney Gardner for that, and 108th in scoring defense. Year 5, this is inexcusable. And everybody's going to say, oh, but last year they were so good in defense. You know what? Last year, we didn't play an elite quarterback all season.
Right.
That's why we were good, because we didn't play a good quarterback.
We really didn't.
And we're making very mid quarterbacks like Kentucky's yesterday look like Heisman candidates. And I'm terrified of what Diego Pavia is going to do to us at the end of the season. I'm terrified of what Mateer could possibly do to us. And we should be thankful that Mateer is still injured. Guys, I mean, you can watch him play. He's just he's overthrow Joe, basically.
Yeah. And their offensive line.
Yeah. But, I mean, we made Gunnar Stockton I don't think Gunnar Stockton's run another game where he's had 300 yards, except, against us. I mean, Ty Simpson's a decent quarterback, but, I mean, my God, we made Taylor Green look good. And Steve Angeli, torched us. And Blake Shippen. I mean, Blake Shippen in Mississippi State has been a liability. The reason why they lost the last 2 games. Yeah. And it's just so, I mean, Heupel has to make a decision, and I'm happy that Heupel at halftime yesterday was just our defense has given up too many plays. This is we really should be up more than just 14. I'm glad he's finally said that, because he hasn't said anything about the defense in the 4 prior seasons. But man, I mean, this is inexcusable. I mean, it really is. I mean, you're about to have an opportunity where we're going to have 4 first-round draft picks likely in next year's draft with Brazel and 2 defensive backs, and potentially Lance Hurd in the offensive line, and the defense, I mean, is a complete liability. I mean, you should never have a situation where the depth is just that drastically different. I mean, it's just you should never where 1 starter or 2 starters on the secondary should be from being a mid-tier SEC defense to one of the worst in the country. I agree.
Let's get our top of the hour, halftime break here in the first hour. Again, Neutral Zone presented by Fleet Tire. Fleet Tire over at 111 East Woodland Avenue there in North Knoxville. Great family owned. They're a great dealer of. They're going to work with you on a lot of rebate programs they have. Right now is the time. Don't wait till the weather gets crazy. I know this week, I believe, you're supposed to have a little bit of rainy weather. Just had my son, him get a couple of tires there. And I tell you, especially if you do the 2 tires or 4 tires, they really make it affordable and I know that's crazy with how expensive everything has gotten right now. But look, if you're in the market for 4 tires and you can come out of there with 4 tires and for the price of 3 with the rebate program, they've got those sort of programs in place. Tell them you heard about it right here in the Neutral Zone on Fan Run Radio. Again, Fleet Tire, 111 East Woodland Avenue. We'll come back with more. We'll continue this UT, the rest of the schedule. If you'd like to jump in, we'd love to hear from you. 865-966-3435. NFL Hour number 2. It's Happy National Tight Ends Day. In our very own John Reed here on the program. You can catch him in the morning here, the morning show. I was just picking his brain on Friday because last year, and there were several people I know that hit some big time tight end, National Tight End Day. Huge parlays were won, including our very own John Reed here. So hopefully John will post his tickets today and share the wealth. And hopefully everyone listening will hit a nice one today on National Tight Ends Day here in the NFL. As We have arrived at week 8 in the NFL, and but we'll continue the college football talk right after this. More Neutral Zone coming up on Fan Rod Radio.
This is Coach Josh Heupel. In football and life, you need a solid defense to protect what matters most. That's where Farm Bureau Insurance of Tennessee comes in. Score peace of mind with Farm Bureau Insurance, the official insurance of the Vols. They're your line of defense. FBITN.com.
This is Baseball VFL Cody Brown. Farm Bureau Insurance is the official insurance of the Tennessee Vols. I'm here to be that line of defense for all your insurance needs. Give me a call at 865-992-3871 and go Vols.
Hey, Pack Rat. Yeah, you. Are you moving cross-country and you just don't know who to call? Call us right now. Listen, you've probably seen one of our containers in your neighborhood, but did you know that we can help you move anywhere in the United States? It's real simple. We'll drop a container off at the location you tell us to bring it to. You pack up your valuable possessions at your leisure. They stay safe right in your home. And when you're ready, call us. We'll come and pick up the container and give you a scheduled date of when your furniture and the other possessions will be at your new home. So if you're moving across country or across town, be a Pack Rat. Join the Pack Rat family. Call Pack Rat right now for your free quote. See y'all later, Pack Rats.
Call 800-965-1298. 800-965-1298. 800-965-1298. That's 800-965-1298.
Your tax refund belongs to you, not an identity thief. Over $6 billion in tax refunds were flagged by the IRS for possible identity theft last year. If you're in a bind this tax season, LifeLock can help. They monitor and alert you to identity threats you'd miss on your own, even if you're careful with your personal information. And if you do become a victim of tax-related identity fraud, LifeLock has U.S.-based restoration specialists ready to help solve your identity theft issue. Plus, all LifeLock plans are backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, meaning LifeLock will reimburse you up to the limits of your plan if you lose money due to identity theft. Let LifeLock help protect your financial info, so all you have to worry about is what you do with your tax refund. Go to LifeLock.com, save up to 25% off your first year. The promo code is HERD, promo code HERD, to save up to 25% off your first year. LifeLock.com. Identity theft protection starts here.
When it's past high noon, it's time for a vodka soda made with a vodka you've actually heard of. I'm talking White Claw vodka soda made with White Claw premium vodka. JB Smooth only drinks vodka soda made with the world's smoothest vodka.
And you can too. Pick you up a bottle of the triple wave filtered vodka that's been distilled 5 times. White Claw premium vodka comes in 4 flavors: black cherry, mango, pineapple, and just vodka. You haven't had vodka like this. No one has. White Claw premium vodka. Please drink responsibly.
There's a place up ahead and I'm going just as fast as my feet can fly. Come away, you get going.
Welcome back into Neutral Zone here in the first hour, presented by Fleet Tire, 111 East Woodland Avenue. For all your tire needs, they're going to take great care of you. Great rebate programs in place from all the big name tire brands. And if you have a particular one, they can match it up. They'll match it up closest to meet your specifications. Fleet Tire, making it possible. We're going to go to the phones. Before we will, Drew, I don't know I know you're a fantasy football nut as well, and like to sprinkle a little bit of money on some of the games today, but a big inactive already listed for the Falcons, a team who I had decided already I was going to play them in my Survivor. I can change it, but I think I'm going to roll with it. Miami on the road is 0-4, but now you're having Kirk Cousins, who I think they're going to want to have him really showcase him because I think he'll be traded possibly at the deadline. I mean, might he go to Minnesota? I mean, Sleepy's Vikings could certainly use him. That is a team with Wentz and McCarthy, who just looks like a total bust at the NFL level. But the big news, inactive, no Drake London for the Falcons. That's big. Hey, might you want to look at a Darnell Mooney, put him on a ticket for anytime touchdown? Or perhaps, now what would have been great is if you'd have got him before that news was official. He was probably plus 400 or so for anytime touchdown. But again, that's a big loss for Atlanta, but I would expect a lot of Bijan, a lot of Kyle Pitts today, a lot of Algier, who's very, very underrated and gets the tough yards there for them. So just wanted to drop that. If you do have a fantasy team and Drake London's a part of it, which he's a weekly starter, just a plug and play, you're going to have to look somewhere else. But let's go to the phones now, and you can jump in as well after it looks like we've got a couple of calls. 865-966-3435. Let's welcome in our first call. Welcome in.
How you doing, clone?
Oh, man. Hey, Bill. Titans Bill, how you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, buddy.
Good to hear from you, man.
I just got done a few minutes ago having a nice little private discussion with Tony and Gold Brick Joe.
Nice. Man, meeting of the minds.
And we were over here discussing today's games.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, some of the games that I really, really do like. You know, I like your Broncos over the Cowboys.
Well, I hope we don't wait till the fourth quarter to show up like we have here lately.
I like Tony's Eagles against the Giants.
Yeah, and a key inactive there is no A.J. Brown. But look, that Giants team, and we've been talking about it in here, he's going to probably win the Rookie of the Year if he plays the rest of the season as Jackson Dart. And Scatabo is the man. That's a scary team. Theo Johnson and and Wan'Dale Robinson in the slot. But I would expect the Eagles. They look like themselves last week. They seem to have gotten back on track.
I'll tell you what. Speaking of Mr. Scatabo, he played a good game against Texas, and of course the team that he played for, Arizona State, they came very close of upsetting Texas.
Yes, they did.
If you could recall.
I do. Very good memory, Titans Bill.
And let's see, the Titans is going to go 1-7. I'll tell you, clone, just stick a fork into their 2025 season.
Yeah, I mean,
they're done.
Yeah, and at this point, you hate to say this, but just protect your young quarterback who's got some potential, some promise to him. Listen, we don't know yet if he's got that Jackson Dart it factor. That is such a abysmal roster. Yes, Jeffrey Simmons is a fantastic player, and you could get so much in a trade if you wish to move him. I wouldn't. I mean, depending on what I don't know his contract status, where his age and all that lies. But I would ask you. I would suck as bad as you can suck right now. Try to get that first round, another first or a second round pick. I would then move some players like Ridley. I would move. I would certainly move Snead. He's washed. But these competing teams that are in it, they would take a third or a fourth cornerback to bring in there for dime packages. To kind of cover a guy in the slot. They could make some hay there and build some draft capital. My follow-up question to that, Titans Bill, who would you really, really like to see them go after? I've talked to a couple Titans fans, and I know Kingsbury, Cliff Kingsbury is one that's very much on their radar. But you just never know with Amy Adams Skunk and what that family or what they're going to do. I mean, they'll probably offer it to Belichick. Would you take Bill Belichick and his little rock star, now that he's kind of rock star dating the young women? Would you want that around your Titans organization?
To be honest with you, yes.
Yeah,
I would. If there's anybody that I know, man, that can turn things around over there for the Titans, it would be Mr. Belichick.
And you know what? Knowing some people in that country music scene, really close to that, they've told me in the off season, you'll either see Bill Belichick out on his boat down in South Beach, or you'll see him on his yacht. Excuse me. Let me rephrase that. Or you'll see him hanging out in some of the honky tonks, and that he's a big music guy. He loves Nashville. He's got some roots there. So you never know, yeah. Titusville. You never know.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's only thing that they have to do is just back up the Brinks truck.
Yeah, the thing with him, though, the only thing that would concern me is, the stink around him. I think a lot of teams, including Atlanta, who was rumored, the Falcons this last time, 2 years ago, they did not, because he came in and said, look, I want, maybe not total control, but I want most of the control of the personnel and all that. And really and truly, he was abysmal. You go back and look at his last 3, maybe 4 or 5 drafts, and then he wants to, bring his son in here, who's not a very good defensive coach. I just wonder there if just the stink around him, and he was obviously winning. He was a great defensive mind in those Parcells years coming up, but he had arguably the GOAT playing quarterback for him. And they had guys, I will say, a system to get guys to buy in, but I'm not on board with Belichick, maybe as much as you are, but again, there's going to be some possibilities, some coaches out there. I'm not sure I would go the college route.
Okay. I'll throw another name at
yes.
you. I wouldn't mind having him hire Mike McCarthy.
Well, he's I don't know.
Look at the job he did at Green Bay, and of course, the only one problem of it is with when he was head coach of the Cowboys, dealing with Jerry Jones.
Yeah, but I feel like with that whole thing, he was, Jerry Jones only hires yes men, and he had arguably two Hall of Fame quarterbacks in Green Bay. Not taking anything away from him of that, he still has to keep the team together, the roster, all that. I don't think he would be a disastrous hire. And would bring some stability. It would be an upgrade, certainly, over, Callahan Auto Parts. But I don't know, Titans-Bill. That'd be interesting. What do you see the rest of the way, though, for Tennessee Vols, as we've got we're up against it here at the top of the hour here in just a moment of minutes. But and I know we've got another caller, but do you see the Volunteers getting into the college football playoff this year, Titans-Bill?
To be honest with you, my good friend Clone, no.
No?
I don't, no. Because I feel they're going to lose to Vanderbilt, and they could lose to Oklahoma. They need to iron out the wrinkles on their defense. If they don't...
Yeah, well, absolutely.
It's like what I love to hear our good friend Tony say. It could be big trouble in Little China.
Big trouble in Little China. Man, Titans-Bill, always great to hear from you. Out the door, final question for you. If the Titans are sitting there at 1, would you look at the first overall pick? I wouldn't go – I doubt I don't think there would be a quarterback that I would say, okay, this is an upgrade over Cam Ward, because I like the potential of Cam Ward. Would you trade that and move down and get maybe 2 first-round picks out of it? To me, if you need so much help, that would be where I would go with it. But there again, Amy Adams Skunk doesn't, she doesn't think logically. I don't know. What would you do with that one if you had it?
I'll tell you what.
Tell us.
In this draft, they needed to use their heads for something besides a hat rack, and they should have traded that number 1 overall pick. But next year, they need to really use their heads for something besides a hat rack and trade that number 1 pick.
I would trade it so fast. I would certainly, and I wouldn't do it so fast. I don't mean to say it, but I would take a really good offer if someone, look at the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, when Minnesota, would they be in the market again? Because again, they may be in this trade deadline rental. They may go and get a 38-year-old, 40-year-old, however old he is, but he's still serviceable. I mean,
Jeffrey Simmons.
Well, no. I'm talking about at quarterback. Minnesota needs a quarterback. I mean, in the worst way, because you've already got your rock star wide receiver, arguably one of the top 3 wide receivers in the game, Double J, Justin Jefferson. He's already like beyond frustrated, and there's rumors that he wants out of Minnesota. So, but again, you're gonna have to do something there. But I Titans Bill, we love hearing from you, man. I'm glad you're doing well, and we really, as always, we appreciate your input, your analysis. I think you're spot on today. I don't think you're going out on a limb thinking the Titans are going to go to 1-7. But I would imagine, that will be a hammer job by the Colts. I would imagine the largest spread on the board, 14.5 points. But Titans Bill, we love hearing from you, man. Glad you're doing well, and don't be a stranger. We'd love to hear from you.
I will call you, buddy. I will call you, buddy.
All right, buddy. All right, good deal. Well, next week we do have Drew will be traveling, and he's going to be busy. So we're going to take a week off next week, but we will definitely catch you the following week. Just a little programming note there, but Drew, we need to get the top of the hour, right? Remind ask our caller to patiently hold. We'll give you plenty of time.
Oh, yeah.
In order to kick off the second hour of Neutral Zone, we'll definitely give you a plenty of airtime. We really appreciate your patience. We appreciate you listening to Fan Run Radio and the Neutral Zone presented by Fleet Tire. Come on back. We'll still talk some college football. We'll talk NFL as well, as we're about to dive into Week 8. And again, happy National Tight Ends Day in the NFL. Drew, I know you got a parlay slip with maybe 7 or 8 tight ends that are going to score.
I
got a couple I like that I really like, but there again, you pick anything over 3 or 4 legs, and all it takes is one crash and burn. And but I do like some picks. I'll give those out a little bit later in the show. Come on back, though. More Neutral Zone right here on Fan Run Radio.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mike Costa at Knoxville Smiles. Here at Knoxville Smiles, we're all about making it easier for you to see the dentist. That's why we're now open until 7 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays. If going to the dentist in the morning or during normal business hours doesn't fit your busy schedule, come see us a little later. Call 865-539-1776 to schedule your appointment, or just visit us online at knoxvillesmiles.com. Smile brighter with Knoxville Smiles.
Hi, I'm Bo Kregner from the Kregner Group. Are you looking to buy or sell a home? Whether you're upgrading, downsizing, or just need a change, it's never been more important to have experienced, trustworthy representation in the real estate process. So if you have any real estate questions, I'd love the opportunity to earn your trust. Call me anytime for a free chat, 865-742-1035, or find me online at BoKnowsHouses.com. The Kregner Group, real estate the right way.
Barley's has live music on weekends, general team trivia on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m., and now live sports trivia courtesy of the Knoxville Trivia Guys every Thursday night upstairs. The game starts at 7 p.m. and is free to play for everyone, so head on down to the Old City and show off your sports knowledge and win gift cards to Barley's. Use those gift cards to buy some delicious food and drinks, and you can take it all in with their wide selection of TVs and indoor projectors. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
Ready to launch your career? Axle Logistics is a leading third-party logistics company where excellence is an energy. With an award-winning culture, Axle proves that positive outcomes come from a positive environment and a work hard, play hard mentality. At Axle, the drive for success is infectious. And with an uncapped commission structure, hard work isn't just noticed, it's rewarded. For those with big goals and even bigger dreams, Axle Logistics is the place to start your career.
Hey Knoxville! Surfside iced tea and vodka, made with real brewed tea, is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar, with no bubbles and no troubles. That's right, zero carbonation, so it's easy to sip and enjoy. Headed to a game day or party at a friend's house? Bring an iced tea or lemonade variety pack from Surfside, or try their green tea and new raspberry tea vodka. Find the can with the sunset stripes this season. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sold at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sunshine in a can. Must be 21 or older. Enjoy responsibly.
Life never stops moving. And between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up. A tire designed for doers. A tire that's going to last. Like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire.
I heard the news, baby, that we have a well-known, a big-time caller calling in now. One of the favorites that calls in. Hey, as true a Vol as there is, our man, the man, TR. Welcome into the Neutral Zone presented by Fleet Tire. How you doing, sir?
All right, Bo Colonio. Hey, man, was that David Lee Roth and Edward Van Halen coming back from break, man?
That was a little Michael Anthony. Absolutely.
I'm just enjoying this post-Lexington victory party, man.
Post-Lexington victory party. Yep, it was a big W, man. Big W. Defense is still a little tough to watch, but not the typical defense we grew accustomed to watching over here. But win's a win, man. You get a big win up there, and offensively we look pretty stout.
Well, the Cats, man, they're always going to give us their best shot, man. This is probably their biggest game of the year in their eyes, man. And they're just, but Swag, man, he really aired it out last night, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
But y'all been breaking it down, man. But the defense, I'm getting really worried, man. We're going to get embarrassed in the playoffs, man, if we do somehow win out. I mean, these defensive backs, man. Boo Carter, man. They can't tackle, they can't cover, man. I question their effort, man.
Yeah, there's definitely an effort element there. It's lacking for sure.
All right, man. I appreciate you, man.
All right, T. T was yeah, man, that was good to hear from OT there. It was much shorter than what we normally hear.
I haven't heard from him in a hot minute, so good to hear him back on the airwaves for sure. It's been a while. It's probably since March Madness since we heard from him.
Yeah, man. I love hearing from TR, man. He yeah, definitely good to hear from him, man. I was I was expecting him to touch on the losing Tony Vols, but I don't know. I think a lot of people are still but hey, we'll get behind Elander. A lot of people are excited about that. And if you really not just here within this program, he's viewed by the D1 baseballs of the world, the Baseball Americas. He was a guy that was going to be on a lot of upcoming, future job openings. He would be a guy that would definitely been on some people's radars. A young up and comer in the industry, and again, good that Danny White and the school, the administration saw to keep him here. That was great. Hopefully no real drop off here. I mean, obviously different personality, but hey, at the end of the day, I think you're going to see the same offensive style. You're going to see aggressiveness on the base pass.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine you're going to keep your rock star pitching coach.
Yeah.
So with everything on that standpoint, I feel like we should be right there. No real drop off. But again, we'll see. Time will tell. It may not be in 1 year. Hopefully 2 years. We're looking back on it going, wow, this wasn't so bad after all. I mean, yeah, you'll miss the memories and what Tony brought us, but how quickly if we win a title in the next 2 years with Elander,
mm-hmm.
I mean,
I think the thing is too, it's it was a unique situation. I mean, typically a lot of these coaches would leave right after the postseason, in July. And it gives you some time to be able to find that coach and, be able to get his own players in. But, Vitello left this late in the off season, and it's not his fault. I mean, it's just a very, unique set of circumstances that no college baseball coach has ever seen before. And I mean, it was a smart choice. I'm a fan of Elander. I think he was a great pick. I think a lot of our fan base needs to realize, however, that you might need to be able to tame the expectations a little bit as far as the program goes moving forward, right?
Yeah. Beach nut.
Yeah. I mean, Vitello had that expectation where every year we should make the College World Series, and let's be real. I mean, Tony Vitello was by far the best coach in college baseball by a wide margin, and I mean the greatest coach in Tennessee baseball history. But I don't think you could be able to have that expectation when it comes to Elander. And my expectation moving forward is just making the NCAA tournament every year. Hoping for a super regional. You obviously hope for a College World Series appearance, of course. But, I mean, even the elite of elite programs don't always make it to Omaha. We didn't make it last year, but, there was quite a few years where, Arkansas didn't make it either. And so, I mean, I think this was the right hire. The players obviously wanted him. And this was a situation where you wanted to have however that current roster is, you wanted to make sure you could be able to, retain it as much as possible, and not have a mass exodus of guys entering the portal and leaving. And so I think they made the right choice. Low risk, high reward. Worst case scenario, if Elander doesn't really work out, guess what? We got a brand new spanking, stadium.
Yep.
Incredible facilities, very large NIL, and it'll still be a very, very attractive job, even 3 or 4 years down the road. But I think Elander's the guy. It was pretty obvious from the get-go. However, don't get me wrong, Clooney, I got my own theories about how they eventually led to the decision of having Elander. I think they had a couple of their choices in that coaches list that may or may not decline that job, and a couple key figures within the university that kind of forced Danny's hand into making an internal hire. But regardless, Danny made the right choice, even if it meant that he had to put his ego to the side. So.
Yeah, I agree. I listen, I think this could have been, not only your chancellor, your president of the university, who obviously is a big baseball guy, big sports people all the way around, whether it's Plowman, whether it's Boyd, the boosters involved. I feel like they were like, okay, look, they're not going to come out and publicly say it, but you're not to dwell on this, but this was one of those things that did not really have to get to this point, but it did. And I think at this point, to save face, I think, and to keep the program intact, and oh, by the way, keep the fan base over here. What you've built, what Tony has built, not Danny, although he'll tell you in the press conference that he built it. What Tony V built with the help of Elander and his staff, I really believe they might have gotten in his ear and said, no, this is what we need to do this. Yeah. And I think he needed to, because I firmly believe that, and he could stand up there in front of the baseball team when he made the official announcement and make it sound like, hey, we kicked the tires on him. We evaluated. I told you, we vetted some guys, blah, 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 all this. He can talk all that he wants, but I think ultimately he wanted to go outside. I think he wanted to get.
Oh, definitely. Absolutely.
And I'm not saying that's nothing against Anderson or Elander. I just think he wanted to put his true stamp on it, go get his guy, get as far away from the Vitello regime, everything, all of this aside. And I think he had some people, influence getting in his ear. Now, I'm not going to say maybe he did sit down with Elander and he found out by talking to him, hey, you know what? This guy's I can get along with this guy, whereas I didn't put a whole lot of effort into getting along with, I'm an introvert. This guy over here is a totally polar opposite extrovert. And maybe, just maybe, he can be on the same page with this guy and show Josh Elander some more attention, more love, and we can keep this thing rolling and continue to win. And you know what? Hopefully Tony Vitello wins big on the major league level and debunks all the belief and rumors that he's going to replace, Van Horn at Arkansas. Yeah. I don't want to see that happen. I don't want to see him wound up at Florida. I don't want to see him, I don't want to see him anywhere close to the SEC. Though I do like the guy and I wish him the very best. But again, I think you're right. I think, the bottom line is it's not always how you get to somewhere or how you arrive. It's just the fact that you did get there and we're there. And I think most people are happy that it is Josh Elander.
Do you think Danny White may have learned some lessons as far as like the type of relationships that he has with certain coaches or assistant coaches throughout this whole entire, unique situation? Because I hope so. He said in his press conference, and this is where like I became a little bit critical of him. It's like he said in his press conference at first that he had a great relationship with Tony, right? He's like, oh, I got a great relationship with Tony and all this stuff. And then he proceeded within the next two sentences that his sports administrator, Tyler, whatever his name is, was the one that actually had a better relationship, and it's kind of like the one that kind of maintained everything.
And all of his lieutenants.
Yeah. So, for me, it's just a very unique situation. I don't expect, here's the thing. It's like, I don't expect, right, Danny White to have a personal relationship with every single coach on campus. Because, I mean, obviously, football staffs, and track and field and in tennis and basketball. I mean, there's a lot of coaches. I mean, it's like hundreds of coaches, right?
Yep.
On both men's and women's. Mm-hmm. However, I personally just don't see a valid explanation as to why he doesn't have a personal relationship, at least with all the head coaches, especially in the major sports.
Especially in this NIL era where, hey, again, Mike Hamilton would have always been, again, maybe not the greatest hiring track record, but he was a guy that walked around, and I know this for a fact because I know people that talk to him inside the athletic department and that have been over there for years that have said Mike Hamilton would have never came out. Not only would he have never came out and made a statement like that, like, oh, I don't, I'm not hobnobbing with coaches, and I'm not, and that is true. I guarantee you, he does not know. He maybe knows a third of his coaches in his major sports, all of his major sports over there. He did not know several of the football coaches. Maybe still doesn't. I don't know. My point being, and when you see Brent Hubbs put the article out this week, never has it been more apparent that you have to have solid relationship skills with your coaches, because you know what? In this day, you've got more of an opportunity than ever. If you didn't recruit a kid, or you didn't get, say a kid that you wanted in where you're actually recruiting kids out of high school, and you go, a solid AD would be talking to those coaches and saying, hey, man, what can I do to help you guys? What resources do you need? It's like that in every corporation. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You've got to be able to shop for the groceries. You're going to make the meal. You've got to be able to, it's all of it around. And the fact that he came out, it was just so awkward the way he went, the way he started in that press conference. And he was so hell-bent on wanting to know who starts this rumor, who started this rumor, and blah, blah, blah. And
mind you, I wanted to add too on this from that press conference, just in case of any of our listeners think that we're completely making this up. His direct quote about 7 minutes into that press conference about his assistant coach and having a relationship, he said, and I quote, "I don't make common practice of being chummy with our assistant coaches." So he's acknowledging that himself. He acknowledges that he doesn't have a relationship with the assistant coaches, which, again, I don't expect you to have a personal relationship with the offense analyst on the football team. But if it's like a top assistant like Josh Elander and Frank Anderson or Rodney Gardner and Joey Halsey and Tim Banks, I absolutely expect you to have a relationship with those guys.
Absolutely.
Not even a debate. And the thing that we heard time and time again, even Xander Seacrest came on the drive earlier this week, and he even said himself, he's like, yeah, we didn't really saw Danny that much. Like, it was only a couple times that he ever came into the locker room, and that would be at the start of the season. Same thing with football. It's just very, very abnormal. And here's the thing, I am not dissing on Danny White. I think Danny White is an unbelievable fundraiser. I think he is by far the best athletic director that Tennessee's had since Doug Dickey.
Yeah,
right?
He's literally a bean counter. He is relationship building with people. Guess what he likes? Well, we all like money,
of course,
but Danny loves money. You know why we signed that Adidas? What's the old saying about Adidas? All day. Well, Danny looks at it all day. I dream about stacks of cash. He loves. I'm telling you right now, I know two different people, really good friends with two people who were, they no longer do this, but they were ushers at the football and the basketball games. Did it for years. Do you know what one of the things he did this past year? Because money is just never enough. It's already growing on trees everywhere over there. They're raising ticket prices, this, that. Baseball's about to see a huge increase with the new stadium. He took all of those that park in the G10 for those previously, up till this year, before this football season. And I know two individuals for a fact that told me they threw their hands up and they said, you can have it. I'm not doing it anymore. They were allowed to park in the G10 because they're over there. They're giving their whole entire Saturday because they love it, one, but they love their school. They're not making hardly anything doing that. And do you know, he pulled the rug from underneath them and said, we're no longer going to allow that. That's no longer going to be a perk. We're going to make you park at, and one told me, and I don't know this for sure with both, but one told me that he was going to, though they were going to bus them, so they were providing transportation, but they were now instructed to park at the soccer complex, and we're going to bus you over. But here's where it gets, okay, so that's nice that they're at least going to not make them walk down Neyland Drive, a 1.5 miles to the stadium. But guess what they're doing with those parking? Do you realize to park in those garages, to have access to that for all, 8 games, 7 home games? It's a couple $1,000s.
Oh, yeah.
So you take that and you had, I'm just rough guesstimate here. What I was told by an usher was that there was about 120 ushers. I don't know if that number's accurate, so I could be giving false information, but that's what I was told. Do the math on that, even at $2,000. It's never enough with him, and the fundraising aspect. Know somebody who's donating like crazy money to them, and I'm not talking about anybody with a name on the building over there. I'm not talking about, the Haslams or anyone who's wrecked our football program and has wrecked the Cleveland Browns or, but it's really, it's not good business. And you continue to raise, I understand, prices at your concession stands, everything is increased. But that was, I'm telling you, those were two people that did that for at least 2 decades. One did it for probably 3 decades. Mm-hmm. And they said that's enough. Yep. They said, not only did all my ticket prices and that I was getting every year, there was no loyalty there. So it is what it is. The guy is in there with one goal. Obviously he wants to be good at every sport. I will give him that. And overall it's a more well-rounded athletic department because of that. But dollar signs, it means everything with that guy. And you look at this situation here. What did he just save in the athletic budget with losing Tony, getting the Giants, mind you? That's why that deal took so long.
Mm-hmm. Pay his buyout.
They were not in agreement to pay UT the buyout, the San Francisco Giants, last Saturday, a week ago yesterday. It took some time. It also then, as Tony Basilio reported, you had Chancellor Plowman, you had President Boyd. Again, great people there. I'm so happy that we have them in place. And they're big into the sports. They realize how the university monetizes off of that. When the football program especially is healthy, guess what? It pays a lot of bills across the campus.
Oh, yeah.
And but anyways, enough about that. We'll get our middle of the let's get our halftime break here in the promise. We're going to get into some NFL. We are into week 8 of the NFL, as some would say, bye Mageddon, as there's 6 teams on the NFL bye week of week 8. We'll go over those. We'll go over fantasy matchups. I've got some picks that we like. And we will do that here on the other side. More Neutral Zone presented by Fleet Tire right here on Fad Rod Radio.
Attention service members and veterans.
Introducing the Griffin Law Firm, your trusted ally in military legal matters. From court martials to benefit claims, at Griffin Law, your mission is their mission. Here's VFL Marshall Griffin.
As a veteran and retired military attorney, I've successfully defended lifelong benefits and helped preserve professional futures. So I know that when you hire a military justice lawyer, you maximize your chance to get relief. With my unique experience, I can advocate for you because there's no military matter that's too big or too small. Let us help you make these critical decisions that could affect the rest of your life. Remain silent. Request counsel. Call Griffin Law.
For a free consultation, call 888-707-4282. That's 888-707-4282. Or just visit griffinlawdefense.com.
Your tax refund belongs to you, not an identity thief. Over $6 billion in tax refunds were flagged by the IRS for possible identity theft last year. If you're in a bind this tax season, LifeLock can help. They monitor and alert you to identity threats you'd miss on your own, even if you're careful with your personal information. And if you do become a victim of tax-related identity fraud, LifeLock has U.S.-based restoration specialists ready to help solve your identity theft issue. Plus, all LifeLock plans are backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, meaning LifeLock will reimburse you up to the limits of your plan if you lose money due to identity theft. Let LifeLock help protect your financial info, so all you have to worry about is what you do with your tax refund. Go to LifeLock.com, save up to 25% off your first year. The promo code is HERD, promo code HERD, to save up to 25% off your first year. LifeLock.com. Identity theft protection starts here.
Blackford Veterinary Surgery Referral specializes in surgeries not regularly performed by your pet's general veterinarian. They're currently accepting referrals from vets all across the country. With their newly renovated state-of-the-art surgery center and highly trained staff, clients can rely on professional and thorough care. If your vet says that your pet needs surgery or rehab, ask for a referral to Blackford Vet and let them get your best friend back on its feet. Located conveniently in West Knoxville. For more information, visit blackfordvetsurgery.com.
Got a problem tree looming over your home? Call ECR Total Landscapes. Whether it's trimming, removal, or storm cleanup, our certified pros get the job done safely and efficiently. We're licensed, insured, and ready 24/7 for emergency calls. Big or small, we cut them all. ECR Total Landscapes. Call now for a free estimate, 865-384-2012, and mention promo code FANRUN for free stump grinding on any tree removal now through the end of the year. Also, visit us at ecrtotallandscapes.com.
All right, let's get after it here in the Week 8 NFL by-Mageddon week. And it is Happy National Tight Ends Day in the NFL. Obviously, there's going to be some tight ends scoring touchdowns. They seem to really want to, show up, ball out on Tight Ends Day. But overall, I think there's some really interesting matchups, Drew, if you want to run through those. 1 o'clock games, ones I'd rather just kind of bypass are the Bengals and the Jets. It stopped me if there's one there that you want. Obviously, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, those guys need to be in your lineup. I will say a sneaky little play right there. If you had been playing, the Bengals, I will say, have been a funnel for opposing tight ends. If you have been playing over on yardage props and even anytime touchdown props versus the Bengals defense this year, by using the opposing starting tight end this week, it's Mason Miller for the Jets. You would have a pretty nice little college fund set aside for your kids in 7 weeks versus the Bengals. Again, they have just been an absolute funnel for yardage and touchdowns. Just go back and look at all that. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it, but so that's a sneaky little play right there. Mason Miller over his yardage prop. Baltimore without this line really really is interesting to me. It's almost like Vegas is baiting us into, but Baltimore, without, again, third game in a row without Lamar Jackson, and they're the favorite over the Bears, which, it has come down a little bit. It was 3.5 earlier. It's now 2.5 for the Ravens. But I don't know, man. That's a little bit iffy to me. But again, Vegas usually knows, and they want to get half the public on one side, half on the other, whatever. You know the story. But the Bears sitting at 4-2. This is an absolute must-win for the Ravens. I said it here last week. As good as the Steelers have looked, there is an opportunity. There is still a really good opportunity for either the Bengals to come back and win that division over Pittsburgh is definitely on the table. Definitely on the table. Bengals beat the Jets today, and they're 4-4. I think the Packers are going to beat the Steelers tonight. I think it's a great matchup. I think a high-scoring game. We'll touch on that, the reason why I like that game. But the Steelers are about to really play a gauntlet of a schedule. They had it easy going early in the season, and now guess what? The roller coaster gets a little rocky, a little bumpy, and quite a few corkscrews on it. I don't know. So I don't think that was TR either that called earlier. Okay. I thought it, I did not think it sounded like him, but would love to hear from the real TR. I haven't heard from him in a while, but I do agree. I don't know that was TR. Anyways, maybe TR will reach out, send the bat signal, and let us know. But if you want to join, you can. 865-966-3435. Again, Neutral Zone presented by Fleet Tire, 111 East Woodland Avenue. Great deals right now. Don't wait to get your tire, your car ready. Maybe you've got kids. You need to look at getting 2 tires, 4 tires, whatever. They have awesome. When I say awesome, I'm telling you, I was over the other day and I was looking at some of the rebate deals that they have on the purchase of 3 tires, 4 tires. And it really is, in this day and age, when you can get 4 tires for the price of 3, it's a no-brainer. You go ahead and do it. You want your kids, you want your wife, your girlfriend, you want whoever is driving the kids around, you want them to be in as safe as possible and dependable. And Fleet Tire will make sure that happens. Again, 111 East Woodland Avenue. Drew, you started to say something.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking a little bit about that Bears-Ravens game, which I'm still, as you mentioned, surprised that Bears are 2.5-point dogs in that game. Am I crazy to think that, the play here is to maybe take Bears money line at plus 125?
No, I think it's very, again, something is fishy there. I know several of their Pro Bowl level caliber players on defense are finally getting healthy for Baltimore, but still, that is a team that has not been able to stop the run. Now, mind you, they've had injuries, but even against the Rams had their way with them 2 weeks ago. So again, it is, you're coming out of a bye week, and typically Harbaugh teams, he's probably tired of hearing John Harbaugh, hearing all the, we're probably going to run him out of Baltimore. He'll get a pass with his Pro Bowl MVP quarterback not being in there the last 3 weeks. But for me, maybe just as a safe play, maybe as a teaser, or move them up to getting 7.5. Look, the Bears offense and Ben Johnson, in fact, what he scripts, do you realize in the first quarter this year, they have been money ATS. They're averaging about 6 points, which is really, you stop and think about it for first quarter. They're averaging just over 6 points in the first quarter this year, which tells me, hey, they come in with a great offensive game plan. They execute it. So, yeah, I mean, that something about that game is just telling me to stay away.
Yeah.
Why would Vegas have them favor. So sometimes when it looks too good to be true, I try to stay away.
And then you also got 49ers Texans, another 1 o'clock kickoff. And again, like 49ers, 2.5-point dogs, underdogs in that game too. I mean, logically, 49ers have been pretty solid this year despite all the injuries they have. Kittle's back. But I don't know. Again,
still don't have their quarterback. Mac Jones has been serviceable, but I actually, right place, right time, for some reason, I feel like the Texans are going to win today. I don't know why, because their offense has just been gross. Their offensive line has been gross. Terrible. One of the worst in the league. The thing is their defense, though. Listen, all the talk of the Broncos defense, Seattle's defense, I think that's the best entire defense. If you look at the numbers, I think the Texans have the best defense in the NFL this year. But when we're looking at, and I'm going to give out a play here. We will take one more short break, and I'll give out a couple of plays that I really like here. Again, 865-966-3435. If you want to jump into the neutral zone here on Fan Run Radio, presented by Fleet Tire. So I'm just looking here. We already mentioned no Michael Penix Jr., no Drake London for the Falcons. Could this be to the moon, Darnell Mooney Day, 2 touchdowns from Mooney? I've seen it happen before. I mean, you take chances with these, you throw darts and just hope that one hits bullseye.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll have some safer plays for you that I feel like I really, really like. We'll do those here in just a moment. According to sources, the Titans are very open to deal players, but won't trade their stars. So a question would be, what does Amy Adams Skunk view as an actual star? I think Jeffrey Simmons is off the table.
Yeah, so there's the two, according to Adam Scheffner, the two guys that they're looking at that are not tradable are Cam Ward, obviously, and Jeffrey Simmons. Titans are willing to listen to trade offers on players such as tight end Chig Okongwu, cornerback Roger McCreary, and outside linebacker Arden Key, which I get, right? I mean, Jeffrey Simmons is probably the best, defensive lineman in football, right?
Yeah.
And he obviously got a #1 overall pick under Cam Ward, but man, when it comes to Simmons, he's 28 years old. He signed a 4-year, $94 million contract back in 2023. His value is not going to be any higher than what it is right now, right?
Yeah.
If there's going to be an organization out there that is willing to trade a first-round draft pick and future draft picks, whether if it's either a first-round or a second-round pick for him right now.
Right.
And for me personally, I would take it.
Yeah.
You can't build a franchise around, an elite defense tackle. You can't build a franchise around an elite running back. We've tried both. The only thing you can really truly build a good competitive football team around with is a quarterback. And I think we have that with Cam Ward, but they need so much help. And I just feel like getting yourself at least a couple future first-round draft picks or just a couple high-end, second or third rounders will help the Titans down the road for years to come. Then as opposed to holding on to Simmons until he's 30 and then he loses, it's half the value of what you could have gotten a couple of years ago.
Sure. Yeah. No, I agree. I would be at the point, because that roster is so bad, you would be looking for any possible draft picks, get crazy, be selective and yet creative in the free agency this offseason. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. But again, I would want to see someone other than Amy Adams, making the decisions. And right now,
She might be worse than her dad.
Yeah,
honestly,
yeah,
she might be worse.
Saying a lot. Also, here's another stat. If you're looking for a ticket, like a money line, listen, Carolina Panthers have been quite a surprise this year. Buffalo, Scott McDermott teams, Buffalo, and I saw this earlier, coming off of a loss the following week with being a favorite of 4 points or greater, Buffalo and McDermott are 13-0 ATS. So they're at Carolina. I'm not going to touch the side. I have Buffalo as a piece on a money line parlay. I just, again, I think Josh Allen's got to do Josh Allen things and get back to MVP level. But their defense is very, very susceptible. I think this could be an overplay on the total as well because I think Carolina will find some points. I think Xavier Legette, I feel like Jalen Coker, those guys, Tetiar McMillan. How do you say his first name? Tetiar. It's French or something. I think
Tetiar. Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. So again, that's an interesting matchup. But being roughly a touchdown favorite on the road, that's always tough, man. Home dogs getting points are tough.
Yeah.
And as much as I like Philly, the way they looked last week, as we alluded to with Titans Bill earlier, I don't think that's a slam dunk without A.J. Brown. And that Giants team, man, they're gritty. And, they're tough. And you've got a bulldog for a quarterback, a bulldog at running back in Scattaboo. That team is –
Do we think if there's an upset today, would that be – the Giants obviously beat them a few weeks ago on Thursday Night Football. Plus 300 is pretty high on the money line, I feel like, for the Giants. Yeah.
Well, if you're going to put something together, I'm like you. I'm thinking Bears. It would be a much smaller odds there. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe you roll with San Fran. San Fran's got more weapons. There's nothing about that line that makes a whole lot of sense other than great defense, maybe the best in the league, at home, backup quarterback, albeit he has played pretty well in Mac Jones. But there's no Nico Collins. Yeah. You have virtually no running game. You're without your all-pro, literally a top 5 wide receiver in the league, Nico Collins. You don't have him. How are they going to generate points? I don't understand it. When you get into the 4 o'clock, now, one other thing I will say on the 1 o'clocks, New England, Cleveland. This will not be a day where New England can just run the football and set up play action because Cleveland is fantastic against the run. In fact, I would expect a lot of quick passes from New England and their young quarterback who ought to be in the MVP consideration, but he's not as long as there's Kermit the Frog is winning in Kansas City.
I just think we played pretty well. We got a long ways to go though. We got Pat. Travis over here. He's gonna be getting married to Taylor. Always great to have her here at the games.
Yeah, the NFL loves her being at the games. Trust me. To the tune of about $320 million since she started dating him. That was figures factored in through last year's postseason. I'm sure it's even greater now. And that's through digital stream. That's from all the young girls that are probably tuning in. They were like, oh, look at how cute 87 is for he's marrying Taylor.
Plus now that they're officially engaged too.
Yeah.
All right. So I need you to hear me out here.
Okay. And then we'll get a final break. And then we're going to come back with the picks. I promise I told you we'd give you some picks.
All right. So this is going to be a little reckless, but if you're willing to throw in like a few dollars,
hey, we love reckless.
I think this might be a pretty favorable, little 5-leg parlay that you could be able to throw up in. So Colts cover 3.5 first quarter spread. I think they'll be up 7-0. I
can see that.
Titans, they had that exception a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
But, traditionally this season they've struggled. They only average 13 points a game. So I think they'll be able to cover that. Bills, Panthers over 48.5 in total. I think this could be a very high-scoring game.
I agree.
Browns, Pats, under 40.5. We both kind of mentioned the fact that, Patriots are going to be able to struggle to run the football. Browns have an elite defensive line, one of the top 5, if not the best in the NFL. I think Drake May is very good. However, Browns have been struggling offensively, and, I think Dylan Gabriel is going to continue to have some of those, rookie kind
under
of mistakes.
40 and a half, you said?
Under 40 and a half. A little risque.
Yeah, and you could take that maybe if you feel safe, take it up to like 45 and a half. That way a 20, 27 to, 14 would still keep you under.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would lean to the under. I don't feel great about 40 and a half points, but
if you try to play a little risky, certainly an option. 49ers money line. And then the last one I got that this is playing really, really risky. I mean, Eagles are usually outstanding at home, but they've had their faults this season.
Mm-hmm.
And something about Scatbo and Jackson Dart being together, they just got that type of mojo where it's big games.
The moxie, it's
plus 300, Giants money line, that 5-leg parlay, 5,800.
Ooh, plus 5,800?
Yeah. $2 wager, $120 in return. Low risk, high reward. Now, I mean, the odds of that hitting all five, it could be, you can make some adjustments. Maybe, as you mentioned, like maybe the under for 45 and a half for a Browns Pats. But if you're looking, try to make like some dollars and trying to, get some of one of those little risky bets, I feel like 4 out of those 5 are going to hit. I think it's just the Giants money line where it's like a 50-50 shot. But I mean, the Giants beat them a couple weeks ago. They play a little bit more confidence. They kind of get up for these type of games. And, also, I mean, despite the fact that he's been a little bit underwhelming this year, A.J. Brown is out for this game. So they're not going to have their defense solely focus on A.J., and they can be able to have focus on Goddard and Devontae Smith as well.
I love it. I also really I love angles on first quarters. I mentioned the Bears earlier. You could probably get them first quarter spread or just first quarter winner. Or their first quarter points. It might be, I don't know if it's 3.5, I believe is what I saw earlier. But so I love that. I love the Colts minus 3.5. Yeah, that's tough. But even if they score extra point, Titans get a field goal, you still cover.
Yep.
You're 7-3, you're covering that. So I like that. One other play that I didn't mention earlier, and the Titans have just been like I said, they've been a funnel for offensive fantasy stars to Jonathan Taylor's longest run over 19.5 yards. He could break a 25, 30 yard. He could break a 40, 50 yarder against that Titans defense. That would be for such small odds, I would even say as well. But yeah, I like it. Again, something tells me, we're going to look at this and go, what does Vegas know? Are things rigged? We've heard a lot of that this week in the sports world. And believe me, I think there's I have seen guys leave on these primetime games that I'm like, where did he get hurt? You don't see everything. You don't know. You're not right there. You're not a team doctor. You're not talking to them. And you're seeing guys over there cutting up and a towel over their head, and it's like, you played one snap in the second quarter. So guess what? That doesn't void. That allows that respective sports book, in most cases, it's FanDuel. The others have been pretty cooperative in crediting your account. I would just say it's very risky. Anytime you play a player prop, especially on prime time. Those Thursday night games, you see guys leaving games all the time. Not so much on Sundays and Monday night games, but so be careful there. Let's get our final break. We'll come back, a real quick break, and we'll give you some more picks here out the door. Neutral Zone presented by Fleet Tire right here on Fan Run Radio.
Citizens National Bank.
We specialize in relationship banking. From your first car to your first home, a growing family, or a thriving business, C&B is here for you. If you're a customer, we thank you for placing your trust in us. If you're not already, we welcome you to become one today. Find out more at cnbtn.com.
Citizens National Bank. Banking never felt so good.
Member FDIC.
Ready to launch your career? Axle Logistics is a leading third-party logistics company where excellence is an energy. With an award-winning culture, Axle proves that positive outcomes come from a positive environment and a work hard, play hard mentality. At Axle, the drive for success is infectious. And with an uncapped commission structure, hard work isn't just noticed, it's rewarded. For those with big goals and even bigger dreams, Axel Logistics is the place to start your career.
Attention service members and veterans. Introducing the Griffin Law Firm, your trusted ally in military legal matters. From court martials to benefit claims, at Griffin Law, your mission is their mission. Here's VFL Marshall Griffin.
As a veteran and retired military attorney, I've successfully defended lifelong benefits and helped preserve professional futures. So I know that when you hire a military justice lawyer, you maximize your chance to get relief. With my unique experience, I can advocate for you because there's no military matter that's too big or too small. Let us help you make these critical decisions that could affect the rest of your life. Remain silent. Request counsel. Call Griffin Law.
For a free consultation, call 888-707-4282. That's 888-707-4282. Or just visit griffinlawdefense.com.
Hey Knoxville! Surfside iced tea and vodka, made with real brewed tea, is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar, with no bubbles and no troubles. That's right, zero carbonation, so it's easy to sip and enjoy. Headed to a game day or party at a friend's house? Bring an iced tea or lemonade variety pack from Surfside, or try their green tea and new raspberry tea vodka. Find the can with the sunset stripes this season. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sold at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sunshine in a can. Must be 21 or older. Enjoy responsibly.
All right, let's get after it right here. Drew, give out that crazy long shot parlay. Again, low risk, big time reward here on National Tight End Day. What do you got for him, Drew? Give that out one more time.
Yeah. So plus 5,800 5-leg parlay. Colts covering 3.5 in the first quarter. Bills, Panthers over 48.5. Giants money line, which is plus 300. I think if you're going to go for an underdog of a plus, a couple of them like the Bears are plus 125, Niners are plus 130. If you're going to go that's over plus 200, I think this is the best pick as far as any upset goes, certainly more than the Jets. 49ers money line plus 130, and then the under in Browns Patriots, which is under 40.5. $2 wager. $118.82, so which makes it $120 in return. And if you get it now, the odds have gone up. If you get it now, it's gone up plus to 6,900 on DraftKings, which would mean a $10 wager returns $705.
Woo, man, that is fantastic stuff right there. Okay, so I'm going to keep one very, very simple. Keep it simple, stupid, as they say. Falcons money line, Bills money line. I'm going to stay with that trend. And Bengals money line. So you get all three right there. Minus 340, minus 400, minus 260. For those three right there, you're getting pretty solid plus odds. If you just want to play it safe, maybe a bankroll builder that you really want to get in on that. The 4:00 slate, the evening slate. Again, I already said earlier, I like the Packers tonight. Typically teams, and no one blitzes more than the maybe Minnesota. They love to blitz a lot, but the Steelers they live and die by the blitz, and no one is better at attacking the blitz than Jordan Love. I think this is a Romeo Dobbs type game. Tucker Kraft, again, another tight end on tight ends day. I think he'll find the end zone as well later. Now, could you get a little risky there? As Drew had mentioned earlier, again, that it's kind of stay away from me with the Bears, but boy, they sure look good at plus 124. If you add that,
red hot too. I mean, they've won 4 in a
yeah,
row.
lava hot. Ravens are just trying to keep their season alive. So yeah, I do like that. But again, pretty solid slate today. Again, a lot of teams on buys. Again, the biggest inactive, again, Michael Penix Jr., of course, and Drake London. Hopefully you've got your fantasy roster set, and you haven't lost a whole lot in the season early on, and you're sitting there right now. Luckily with me, I'm in 3 leagues, and 5-2, 4-3, and 5-2. So I'm doing okay, but I'm not crazy enough. I'm not that crazy about one of my 5-2 teams, and I'm a Christian McCaffrey injury away from that really, looking that could go downward south really quick. Certainly, I mean, he's been like fantasy MVP worthy so far. Really and truly, you could say him and Bijan Robinson. This should be a big Bijan Robinson day. Also, Tyler Algier. Kyle Pitts has played better here as of late, so it'll be interesting. Now, as far as the really big, if you wanted to get crazy and do a anytime like tight end day, let's say you go anytime touchdown, Kyle Pitts. I'm just saying you're going to go crazy here with it. In Buffalo, I really like Kincaid. You could go Kincaid. You could go Kyle Pitts. If you want to go, here's another little option. Don't forget that FanDuel offers either or anytime touchdown. You could go Dalton Schultz. They're going to have to lean on him some without Nico Collins. It was minus 160 this morning. It's minus 180 now. If you take Dalton Schultz or one of the more popular picks today, most weeks, George Kittle. But I'm just going to say I'm going to go with a Kittle after getting a bagel last week. He didn't do anything in his return. And then Dallas Goedert.
Without A.J. Brown, they're going to rely heavily on him too. And he's been on a tear
he
the
has,
last few weeks.
But there again, another sneaky little play. I said earlier, Mason Miller for Mason Taylor, for the Jets. Another one to watch out for is Theo Johnson with the Giants. He's been pretty solid here lately. But those 4, Kyle Pitts, anytime touchdown, Dalton Kincaid, a little Dalton Connect reference there. Dalton Kincaid, George Kittle, Dallas Goedert, all of these coming in the 1 o'clock slate, plus 46-44. So I'm going to put a little sprinkle on that. And if you use your 30% odds boost that FanDuel has thrown out, it does juice that up to plus 6,000, 60-38. As a matter of fact. So again, $10 play there, and you've got some holiday money to play with. $464. So anyways, that's all we got, man, this week. We really appreciate it. Appreciate Fan Run Radio. Drew, as always, I appreciate you. We'll take next weekend off, but we'll return in a couple of weeks. And man, let's go Vols. Take care of Oklahoma in dark mode fashion. And let's get after it, man. We're going to be talking basketball. We're already talking basketball, but we are going to be diving into basketball here before too long. You all have a safe week. Go Vols, and let's get a big win this weekend.